Hello and welcome to Elecspo, and it is time for part 3 of what would happen if Celtic and Rangers were in the Premier League. Well, so far, Celtic have stayed in the Premier League, while Rangers have gone up and down like an endless Glaswegian roller coaster. We've done 6 seasons so far, we've had one top half finish with Celtic, while Rangers have only survived in the top flight once. When we left things in June of 2026, the Hoops had just finished 17th as they continue to do their best impression of Newcastle United, whilst Rangers finished second bottom of the Premier League to ensure they were heading back to the Championship and confirming themselves as the new yo-yo club of English football. We've not had a lot to shout about so far, but we're going to look at another 3 seasons and just maybe there'll be some success north of the border. Let's pop on our swimming goggles and dive back into the simulation. No idea why I turned it into a swimming metaphor there, but whatever, let's just get on with it. Right, here we are, the 14th of June 2026, 6 seasons of Celtic and Rangers in English football. As we mentioned at the start of the video, Celtic in the most recent season, they came 17th with 38 points to survive. As for Rangers, they are going back down to the Championship. They've only had one season in which they survived in the top flight of English football. As for Celtic, they haven't been relegated once. They did finish in the top half, finishing 7th in 2023. Other than that, they've been a bottom half team fighting off relegation. But let's simulate another year into the future. Let's go to June 2027 and we'll see how the Old Firm Giants get on. Right, here we are, the 20th of June 2027. We'll start with Celtic in the Premier League, and they have had one of their best seasons in England. They're still in the bottom half, but they've came top of it. They have came 11th with 49 points. There's been no relegation battle at Celtic Park this season. They have been mid-table obscurity, and for me, that is progress. 49 points on the board. They were only a point shy of Wolves, who were in the top half. Not a bad season at all. I mean, to be honest, they've had to have been pretty bad to go down. West Ham coming 18th with only 26 points, so the standard in the Premier League hasn't been great this season. But for Celtic, they have came 11th. It's their second best finish in English football, other than the 7th place they got in 2023. Grabovac still the manager. Christopher Ajer is the skipper, a man who's been heavily linked with an exit from Celtic Park this summer. In reality, in terms of transfers, not a lot of money spent. Well, no, there is a lot of money spent, but I mean, it's not hundreds of £millions like there's been in the past. £53 million spent. Bruno Tavares from Sporting, the big arrival. Potential fee of £26 million. Going out, again, not that much money, £22.5 million. So they've spent more than they've brought in. Oliver Ncham, the big name, leaving. Going to Alaves for a potential fee of £8.5 million. They got rid of Mark Travers as well, goalkeeper, who did score the other week for the Bournemouth reserves, I think it was. And he saved his penalty in a penalty shootout. He had a wonderful day. Not that anyone cares. But Celtic, let's have a little look how they've got on in the cup competitions. As we said, they've done well in the Premier League. In the cups, the League Cup, they only made it to the 4th round, beaten by Spurs. And in the FA Cup, they were beaten in the 5th round by Leeds United. So for all, they've climbed the league table, still we're not seeing any cup progress, which for me is disappointing. You'd think if you're a club like Celtic, who maybe aren't going to be nowhere near really getting into the top half or challenging for Europe, getting a trophy surely is your best bet, but it hasn't really happened. I think the best they've done throughout the simulation is a quarter final. Big win on the final day, though. They did beat Chelsea 2-0 with Carlos Vinicius scoring 2 goals. So that's something to shout about at least. They got Freddie Woodman in between the sticks. Newcastle youngster, he's currently at Swansea on loan in the playoffs at the time of recording. Some other big names arriving, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. Obviously we knew they had Callum Hudson-Odoi from the last episode. How's he been getting on? Not great to be honest, but that's fine, never mind. What we will do now, we will move on to Rangers. Obviously Rangers in the Championship. Have they secured an immediate return to the Premier League? Let's have a look. Yes, they have. They haven't won the title, but they have came second to ensure they will be going back up to the Premier League yet again. For all they've been relegated multiple times, Rangers have never spent more than one season in the Championship. They are going up. It's been an esteemed class in the Championship. They're going up alongside the champions Leicester and the playoff winners Burnley. Rangers did very well. They got 96 points. They were 5 shy of the winners Leicester. They had the best player in the division in Sander Berge, the Golden Boot winner in Tony Weston, the Golden Glove winner with Joe Bursick with 16. Sander Berge got the most assists alongside Lewis O'Brien there. A fantastic season for Rangers, still managed by Philip Cocker. I'm really surprised by that. Let's have a look how they got on in the cup competitions. League Cup knocked out straight away by Stoke, and the FA Cup knocked out in the 5th round by West Ham. But after that defeat to West Ham in the Cup, they didn't lose a single game as they romped to promotion. So well done, Rangers. They are coming back up to the Premier League. Just please God, achieve something this time. I'm sick to death of Rangers just flip-flapping in between the Premier League and the Championship. They brought in a lot of money, £72 million. Matheus Pereira gone to Besiktas, Juan Foyth gone to Palace, Lewis Binks to Leicester, who were one of their rivals this season. Artur Zagre, the big departure, to Leeds for £25 million. They only spent £25 million. I mean, that is quite a fair wedge of cash for a Championship team. Josh Knight, is Josh Knight Derby in reality? No, Leicester. I beg your pardon. Well, either way, he's a Rangers player in this FM simulation, and he's not done very well, but that's fine. That doesn't matter. They've still gone up at least. Konoplia from Leicester also arrived. So there's been a few players trading between Rangers and Leicester, but they are both coming back to the Premier League. Let's have a look who the star man was in the Rangers team. It was Sander Berge, as we've already mentioned. They've also got Brian Mbumo. Brentford fans will know him very well. Sander Berge doing brilliantly. Only £4.2 million when he arrived in 2024. He's a man who should be playing in the Premier League. I mean, it's surprising he's been relegated in reality. But after 7 seasons, in 2027, Rangers are coming back up to the Premier League. I mean, you just see they're up and down, up and down. As for Celtic, they've just had a good finish in 11th place. But will they be able to build on that? We're going to go into 2028 now. Rangers are going to be back in the Premier League. Celtic will be hoping to move up another level and go into the top half of English football. Let's see what happens. Right, here we are, the 18th of June 2028. 8 years of this simulation, and the surprises keep on coming. Not only have Rangers survived in the Premier League for only the 2nd time, somehow they've finished above Celtic. Only on goal difference, but still. That is a huge achievement from Rangers. They've came 11th with 44 points, a goal difference of -8, which put them 5 goals ahead of their biggest rival Celtic, who were a place below them in 12th. It's Rangers' best ever finish in the Premier League. I mean, as I say, it's only the 2nd time they survived. As for Celtic, I mean, at least it isn't a relegation battle. At least they've kind of done similar to what they did the year before. They did come 11th the year before. They've only gone down 1 place. It's a similar points tally. They were 5 shy of what they got last year. But the big surprise is Rangers. After all these years of fighting relegation, well, not even fighting relegation, just being relegated, they've nearly finished in the top half of the Premier League. Philip Cocker still there. I mean, how long's Philip Cocker been there now? That's the wrong thing. He has been Rangers manager for more than 7 years. I mean, Steven Gerrard hasn't even done a thing since leaving. Has he managed anyone? No. Retired. So that was a whole waste of time, wasn't it? Steven Gerrard, the toast of Scottish football at the minute with what he's done with Rangers. But in this Football Manager simulation, that was the only time he managed a full-time club. Well, not a full-time club, not a youth club, should I say. Youth club, that makes it sound like it's a kids club. Anyway, let's have a look how the Old Firm derbies have gone and the cup competition. We'll start with the cup competitions. Rangers, first 3 games went pretty well, 2 wins and a draw. Then their form dropped off, but in the League Cup they were beaten by Norwich. As for the FA Cup, it was the 5th round where they lost on penalties to Chelsea. But what about the Old Firm games? The first one was a draw at Rangers. Sander Berge put Rangers ahead, then Tyrese John-Jules got an equaliser for Celtic, so it was 1-1 in the first game. In the return fixture at Parkhead, it was Rangers who got the job done. It was a 2-1 win. They were 2-0 up through Tony Weston and Yanis Hadji. Bruno Tavares got one back for Celtic. But what a season it has been for Rangers. They've finished above their rivals, they've bettered them in the derby, and they've got another season to look forward to in the Premier League. In terms of transfers, £47 million spent, £20 million coming in. They got rid of Lo Celso, unfortunately, a big name who has left. Coming in, the biggest arrival was Lewis O'Brien from Fulham. centre midfielder, never played for England, but that's fine. Coming through the Huddersfield Academy, at Rangers, 5 goals, 5 assists. A very good season indeed for him. But what we will do now, we will move on to Celtic. As we say, they've came 12th. Still managed by Grabovac. Yes, still the skipper. How did they get on in the cup competitions? Beaten in the third round, of the League Cup by Southampton. And in the FA Cup, beaten in the 4th round by Liverpool. But again, after that, they did have a nice little run in the Premier League. But has there been any big wins? Let's have a little look. They beat Liverpool in the Premier League. That was a big one. 3-2 at Celtic Park. Atmosphere would have been absolutely rocking for that one. Is there any other standout results? Have a little look. In fact, they've done the double over Liverpool. Twice. They've beaten 3-2. It's the new Newcastle Liverpool. Well, I mean, that fixture's not even that exciting anymore. It was back in the day with the likes of Collymore and Tino Asprilla and all the boys, but nowadays it's crap. It's just Liverpool winning all the time. They also beat Chelsea, so that's pretty good. But unfortunately, they haven't been able to finish above their rivals Rangers. In the transfer market, they spent £73 million. The biggest rival, Gaz Brady from West Ham. That is a fantastic name for a striker. I mean, why is he called Gaz? Why not just Gary? How's he done? For £57 million, he's done very well. 11 goals and 28 appearances. I mean, maybe he's on a little bit more for that kind of money, but fair enough. Elecspo also arriving from West Ham, so Celtic just sending a lot of money to the London Stadium. They brought in £30.5 million, so just over £40 million plus net spend. Karamoko Dembele has gone to Swansea for £4.2 million. That is not a lot of money at all, suggesting that Karamoko Dembele hasn't quite hit the heights we were expecting of him. To be fair, in the Premier League, he's had one good season, and then he's just not really had a chance to play. In the Championship, he's doing better. He's got 10 goals. But this isn't about Karamoko Dembele. This is about Celtic and Rangers. And after 8 seasons, for the first time in this simulation, it is Rangers who are the top dogs of the old firm for the first time in a long time. But will that continue in 2029? It'll be the third and final season we're going to look at today. Let's go another year into the future. Let's see what happens. Okay, here we are, the 17th of June 2029. It's the 9th season of Celtic and Rangers in England. It's the third and final season we're going to look at today in part 3 of this series. And for Christ's sake, Rangers have been relegated again. They've just finished above Celtic. They've finally done it. They survived in the Premier League comfortably. Yet now they have gone down once again. They were relegated on the final day. It was between Aston Villa and Rangers. Both sides on 35 points at the start of the final day. Rangers beaten 2-0 by Everton, while Aston Villa beat West Ham 2-1 to ensure it was them that stayed up. As for Celtic, to their credit, they're doing quite well. Sure, they've dropped down the table slightly again, down to 13th. But again, nowhere near the relegation battle. 48 points, it's a good tally. That's 3 consecutive years that they've toppled 40 points. And finally, Celtic look to be finding their feet. They're still not really kicking on. They haven't breached the top half since that fluke the time they came 7th. But I mean, it's a little bit of progress. It's better than Rangers, who've been relegated again. We will start with Celtic, as we say. 48 points on the board to come 13th. Grabovac, still the manager. Christopher Raya, still the skipper. Have a look at the schedule. We'll look at the cups and the old firms. Disappointment in the cup yet again, beaten by Arsenal in the 3rd round. FA Cup, made it to the 5th round, beaten by Newcastle, a Newcastle team who are quite good on this simulation, which is somewhat of a surprise. Let's have a look at the old firms. I was going to say I'd imagine it's been Celtic who've done the best, but the season started, it was the 2nd game of the season when they met at Ibrox, and it was Rangers who won 2-1. Sander Berger put Rangers in front, then Scott Dunlop, whoever he is, made it 2-0. Gaz Brady's goal was only a consolation, and it signalled a disappointing start of the season for Celtic. Only 2 games in, and they'd already been beaten by their rivals. In the end, Christ, they got absolutely battered 4-0. Right, Rangers, man, you've done the double over Celtic. You beat them 4-0 at Parkhead. They went down to 10 men. That's an incredible performance. And yet still you couldn't finish above them. You couldn't even survive, man. Oh, Celtic have gifted you 6 points. I mean, where would Rangers have been without those 6 points? They'd still been 18th, but they've been nowhere near survival. Celtic did their best to try and keep Rangers in the Premier League, but even then it wasn't enough. We'll have a little quick look at the transfers actually from Celtic because we missed them. What kind of money did they spend in their 9th year? Not a lot. A lot of money coming in, £80 million. It's only the 3rd time this simulation though that Celtic have brought in more money than they spent. The big name arrival was Ismail Assar from Norwich, obviously of Watford fame in reality. 31 years old now. I really don't know why they've signed him actually. The loan spell was pretty disappointing. And then ever since making it permanent, he hasn't really featured. So that was... Well, actually, no, I was going to say he hasn't featured, but that's because the season had ended at that point. But we will move on now to Rangers. Relegated Rangers once again, going back to the Championship. Still, Philip Cocu has got the job. What does he know about the Rangers owners? Because surely the man has been relegated. I mean, how many times did he get relegated? I can't remember if he was in charge for the first relegation. No, he can't have been. Let's have a little look and work it out, surely. Gerrard got sacked. No, he was in charge for the first relegation. So, he's been relegated once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. And Philip Cocu is still Rangers manager. In the Cups, how did they get on? 4th round of the League Cup, beaten by Man United. FA Cup, got to the quarter-finals at least. That's not bad. Actually, it's very good to be honest with you. Where they were beaten by Leeds. And then after that, it was a horrific end of the season. Their form fell off a cliff. I mean, they were probably looking quite pretty at one point in time. Quarter-final of the FA Cup, getting a lot of wins. The double over Celtic. After that FA Cup quarter-final defeat, they only picked up 3 points all season in their remaining 8 games. And that's why they've gone down. Let's have a look what kind of players they've brought in. Still a lot of money being spent, £56 million. John Joe Kenny, who did play for Celtic at the start of the simulation, so that's slightly strange. Zach Steffen on a free from Lille. You'll know him from Manchester City. Tahith Chong from Inter Milan, a Man United youngster. I'm not sure where he is. Has he been sold or is he just out on loan this season? Let me know in the comments. And £27.5 million coming in. A lot of players going out. But all it has resulted in is another relegation for Rangers. I just don't know what it is that they're doing wrong here. I mean, they've got some good players. Janis Hadji's still there. Sander Berger, top quality Norwegian midfielder. Is it goals they've struggled for? Tony Weston's still got 16. It's a good tally, but Chris Jordan Pickford's barely played. He's just sitting there listening to the new monkey and whatnot. That'll mean nothing to none of you unless you're from the northeast. But after 9 seasons, Celtic, to their credit, are still a Premier League club. They haven't been relegated once. They're steady. They're mid-table obscurity. They're not even impersonating Newcastle anymore. They're more impersonating someone like Crystal Palace. No threat of going down. They're not really hurting anyone. There's no threat of them getting at the top half. But they're steady. They're there. They're having fun. As for Rangers, as I said at the start, up and down like a roller coaster. At some point they're going to have to get off this roller coaster and sort it out. Either just stay in the Championship, enjoy yourselves. I mean, I don't support a yo-yo club. Is it fun just going up and down from the Premier League to the Championship? Norwich and West Brom fans, let us know. But that is where we're going to leave things for part 3 of what would happen if Celtic and Rangers were in English football. Not even in the Premier League anymore, because Rangers just absolutely cocked all that up with the amount of relegations they've had. If you want a part 4, let me know down in the comments below. But we will leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Elecspo. And until next time, we will see you around.